try and focus a particular lifestyle to something you don't enjoy, then you can't really see clearly because you're always thinking, "My God, I really hate this."
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Chasing Light Collective, the collective for creators by creators. Today I'm speaking to the amazing Myron Haydney. Have I pronounced that right, Myron, or have I absolutely butchered that surname?
Now you've said that correct, mate. That's perfect. Thank you.
That's amazing. So where am I joining you from today? I think you're down in Cornwall, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm in my small town in Cornwall called Camborne, and yeah.
And is it pretty decent weather down there, or is it a little bit, we're only a county apart, but it's pretty nice here in Devon, but I'm not too sure what it's like for you down in Cornwall. Have you had it pretty nice recently or not?
Well, yesterday was nice, but today not so much. I mean, it's dry, but it's not sunny or anything. It's just overcast and it's a little bit
It's
dull.
typical English weather.
Typical English, yeah.
Has that sort of stopped you getting out recently, taking photos, or have you still carried on?
Well, you know, it's like, mate, I haven't really been able to do as much as I would like to.
Especially with how it is at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you can't really go out anyway, so it's not exactly too easy at the minute. But
No, of course, and
yeah.
it's funny you say that because from someone who, especially at the moment with the current restrictions in England and how it is, it's very hard as it is to go out there and be creative. But a lot of people at home, if you don't know, Myron's work is very much drone sort of orientated. It's all drone work really at the moment. Your entire chapter is dedicated to drone photography, and you know it's exceptional. But it's not a sort of I don't know how to put this, but you can't really hide a drone as much as a camera, can you? When you're in lockdown, if you're seen flying a drone, it draws a lot of attention, and I kind of guess as lockdown limiting as it is, taking photos with a camera, I can't imagine how limiting it must feel with a drone, and you can't really get out because of everyone can see you doing it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, no, it's difficult as it is. You know, I mean, forget the lockdown exists.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's not easy to go out and drone, especially.
Oh, really? Just like regardless of lockdown, completely, like just as it is.
Yeah, definitely, and not only that. I mean, you know, there are sometimes you're not really supposed to drone. You know.
Yeah, and talk to me about that because some of the shots you've got, one particularly is just off of what looks like Bournemouth Pier. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And is that sort of like a no-fly zone, but you try it anyway, or is that sort of okay?
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. I try not to look too much into the restrictions.
Yeah,
I mean, if there is an airport nearby, I won't take the mick. You know,
no, of course not, of course not. But sometimes you've got to push the boundaries to get that shot. And
yeah, exactly.
I guess, well, I mean, if you look at how busy the beach was, I can't even imagine how much attention you had drawn to you when you had the drone in the sky, or were you not near the beach when you took the photo?
Well, I wasn't on the beach. I was slightly beside the beach, and you know, I wasn't actually the only drone in the sky, so that gave me confidence that I thought, well, you know, if that person's doing it, it can't be that bad, I suppose. And I've actually seen somebody else there before, so I've seen numerous people there, and I thought, well, you know, I'll just get this done quickly. And like I was saying, I don't really like looking at kind of restrictions because I don't want to scare myself, and I feel like if I scare myself, then I'm more likely to, well, I don't want to say crash it because the likelihood of that of happening is pretty much next to none. There's nothing to crash into.
Kind of just takes away your focus a little bit, doesn't it? If you can't be,
exactly,
yeah, you can't be fully in control because you got things in the back of your mind. Okay, now I completely get that, and I think you get that not as much as completely when you're holding a camera, but you kind of, if that's on your mind with a drone, it's a whole different ball game. You're up in the sky. It's if you crash it, it's kind of game over, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't make a mistake. Yeah.
So, from someone who's flown a drone sort of a few times, it's for me, it gets the heart rate pulsing. It kind of triggers all my anxieties when I fly a drone. And to be honest, I love the thrill of it, but I also really don't enjoy sort of the afterwards of like having to land it, having to control it in strong winds. Like amazing as some of these shots are for me, like seeing your drone work, having to sort of, like I said, having flown one a couple of times, it's exhilarating. I think that's the best way of putting it. And is that part of the reason maybe you enjoy drone stuff, or do you not really enjoy that side of it?
Nah, definitely. There is an element of like that adrenaline that you get from doing it, that I really do enjoy, like in a weird way. I think if it's been a while since I've flown the drone, then I tend to not, um, I'm a bit more apprehensive, if that
Uh-huh,
makes
uh-huh.
sense.
Yeah.
So it's the initial takeoff for me that I struggle with. It's just getting over that barrier,
No, I
and
get that. I get that. And is that perhaps to do with, like you say, like the location, or kind of, well, if anything, maybe is it to do with maybe motivating yourself to actually go out there with the drone? Because it can be a bit of a setup to do, can't it?
Mhm. Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say motivation as such because I enjoy doing it anyway. But I
Yeah.
think in terms of the pressure I feel when, firstly, there are other people around, and second of all, you've got to take into consideration, the location you are. If there are, trees or buildings, or
Hmm.
if the weather's not the greatest, those kind of things do make you feel a little bit on edge, and like in a way, it does make you feel, once you've done it, you get a bit of a buzz from it, and you feel like, yeah, no, I'm really happy with myself that I've just done that. It makes you feel good. But there is also that element of, you know, you feel a bit anxious and you feel a little bit on edge. Like for me, it tends to be at the beginning, So when I take off,
Yep.
I feel a bit then. But after I'm in the sky and flying around, I don't really care as much. And then when I land, I'm not really too bothered by it because I've got the shot. I've got what I
It,
needed. So
it's interesting how you said it kind of puts you on edge, and you kind of live for that feeling anyway. Would
yeah,
you perhaps say that it makes you feel alive? Is that like a nice way of putting it?
absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it. Like, and especially the fact that when I look down at my phone, it has your, how do you say, your view of what the drone can see. You can
Yeah.
see on your phone.
And it's a view that not many people have ever experienced or can experience. And
Yeah,
unless you have a drone, it's not something that's really accessible to everyone. So you're kind of
yeah.
unlocking like a whole new side to the world for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, it's a different perspective, and that's what I really love about it. I mean, there's not really many people that can say they've looked at this particular location from this
Mm.
particular view, but I can, or at least have the opportunity to.
And that kind of resonates perfectly with some of the work that you've produced and features within the chapter. There's a particular shot which kind of features towards the end of your chapter, sort of like your big piece, your big print within the book, and it's this incredible top-down shot, and I still can't get my head around how you've kind of got that. But it's a top-down shot of what looks like a cruise ship or a rather large boat out at sea. And are you on the boat? Are you out on land? Where are you? Talk us through that photo and talk me through how you felt when you took it.
Okay, so for that one, I was actually in Malta.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
Malta is sort of family home for you, or there's like relations there? What's the link to Malta?
yeah. So I was born in Malta, and
Okay,
my mum and her side of the family are Maltese.
right. So
So
it's like a strong part of the family then.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I go over there, I'd say once a year, sometimes a couple of times a year to visit them. And, it's a completely different lifestyle
Oh,
to,
wow.
so when I go over there, it's nice to get even more shots. It's different to Cornwall.
Oh, I
Um,
bet. I bet.
yeah, but it's nice as well. And then for that particular shot of the boat, I was actually sitting on a bench beside this bridge,
Hmm.
and yeah, they have boats coming in and out as they go out to sea, um, and yeah, I think this one was just leaving actually, and yeah, I think it would have been going to fish for the local lampuki, which is a native fish to the Maltese
Oh, okay.
island, um, and and yeah, as it was leaving, I managed to get a nice top down shot of it, but luckily it wasn't moving too quickly because it had just left. So
Oh, I was gonna say because and I guess that's the beauty of sort of perspective, as you said earlier. And you
yeah.
look at that photo from an outsider's perspective, someone who's never seen that shot before, someone who doesn't know where that boat was, the context of where it was, or when it was taken. It looks like it could be out in the middle of like the Atlantic. It looks like it could be in the middle of the ocean, and it turns out it was actually only just leaving the harbour, which kind of goes to show that you can be really creative still with a drone. I think a lot of people think perhaps a drone could be limiting because of the quality of the camera on it or things like that, but it kind of seems unmatched then with the creativity you can still have with a drone, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's incredible what you can do with the drone. I mean, for my drone, I've got a Mavic Pro, so it's very small, it's very handy. I can
Yeah,
just put it in, it's got a little travel bag. And if you look at it from a distance, not even from a distance, if it's on the other side of the room, you literally just think it's a sandwich bag.
oh really, it's that kind of size. And
It's
would you say
crazy.
that, I guess, the smaller these drones become, and I know some of them are becoming smaller and smaller, it kind of makes your life easier being sort of
Mm,
less known that you've got one on you, or
yeah,
it
definitely.
kind of, I think, going back to this idea that draws less attention to you, and that's something that's really useful, I guess, regardless of lockdown restrictions and things like that. Or does that really not affect you too much, having all the attention on you?
Like I was saying earlier, I think it's the initial kind of getting myself beyond that point of
Yeah,
flying it. It's not so much flying it that bothers me. It's the
it,
before.
just the before bit.
It's
Yeah,
the before bit, And when I'm actually doing it, it's not that bad. In fact, I enjoy it. Then it always is. It's all about the mental games that actually similar to what happens in life for a lot of things.
mm,
Uh, you know, all sorts of things. If you're going to do a presentation to 100 people,
mm.
it's usually the before that I don't enjoy as much, and then when I'm actually talking, I enjoy it.
That's a
It's
really interesting way of putting it. It's almost like stage fright, nearly, but in a really unconventional sense, if that makes any sense to the people at home listening. Hoping that that kind of metaphor works. Stage fright with drones. But do you think? And it's funny you said about how it's that bit before, that mental side to it. Do you think, having been away from being able to use your drone for quite some time now, and been in these consistent lockdowns for the last sort of 12 months, that maybe when you finally can go back to using a drone outside and having sort of no pressure on you, that you might feel an added pressure in yourself because it's going to feel a bit harder to get back out there and do it all again, or not?
No, definitely. I think I haven't used it for a while, and
Hmm.
that does tend to be the case. If I haven't used it for a long time, then that pressure is slightly more increased. But it's fine. I've done it before. I've had a break from it before. For more than a few months, and I always get back to it, and I've got no problems. I'm sure I'll. I'm quite optimistic that I'll manage to get back on it. And
It is drone photography sort of like the be all and end all for you? Is it drone over camera, or am I wrong, or are you looking to sort of branch out in different avenues?
well, I mean, I don't like to limit myself to one thing. Of course,
No,
I
of
enjoy
course not.
flying drones, but I definitely think it's one of my strong points. But I'm definitely looking to move on to other things now. I always like to challenge myself. I feel like I've nailed myself. Nailed myself. I mean, that's not quite what I mean.
No, no, I know where you were going with it.
I mean, I've nailed the whole drone aspect of things,
Mhm.
or at least feel confident with it now. And I kind of get a bit bored, I don't want to do the same thing over and over again.
I
Once
think
I've,
I think that's the truth with anyone in the industry, or
yeah,
not
definitely,
even in
yeah,
the industry. If if you have an interest or a passion for any sort of creative, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's photography, videography, whether it's an art form, people get bored with stagnating, don't they? They want to learn something new,
yeah,
and they always want to continue to challenge themselves. That's kind of the beauty of being in the creative, the arts, and things like that, is that you can just keep teaching yourself new things. And is there anything you particularly learned through lockdown that might change you when you leave through being creative, or have you kind of taken lockdown quite easy on yourself?
that is a really difficult one, actually. Um, I think for me, it's always making a note of things,
Yeah.
and I like to write uh, to-do lists,
Okay,
and
so quite a visual thinker.
yeah, so if I want to get a particular shot,
Mm.
then I'll make sure I've written it down, because
So
otherwise,
you just don't
I
forget
can't,
that way.
exactly, yeah, I don't want to go out to a shoot and then be like, well, hang on a minute, what did I want to get here? I don't want to do that. I want to have a plan so that I know that when I've come away from that drone shoot
Hmm.
and I can tick that off, it gives me a sense of fulfillment, and it makes me feel like I've done something.
Yeah, no, of course. It's sort of like setting yourself goals. And
Exactly, yeah.
some of the chats I've had throughout this project, there's been so many different opinions on the idea of setting goals or whether or not they're good for you, and whether or not striving for success is sort of achieved through goals. But for yourself, it sounds like having a bit of a to-do list, having sort of a set goal in mind and things that you want to go and achieve, it kind of sounds like your way of thinking. Is that right?
Yeah, I couldn't be any more correct, to be honest. Like,
And
I know that is who I am. Yes.
and I guess lockdown has been the worst thing in the world for you then, in terms of that, because those goals have to keep getting postponed, or you have to keep altering them, and everything kind of feels further and further away, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. It's not easy, but everyone's in the same boat, and I do what humans have been doing for millions of years. You evolve. You have to make adaptations, and I make to-do lists for other things instead of drone. I look at things like, what can I put in my breakfast this morning? Yesterday, I had
Oh,
banana.
okay. So the little things. Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can be for anything, can't it? As long as I get that kind of fulfillment. But drones are definitely my way of getting the most fulfillment and being creative. But I can get it from everyday life as well.
So really interesting when you're looking at it, in the fact that it doesn't matter what it is, but as long as you have achieved something in the day, whatever it is, it kind of keeps you going. Is that the right way of looking at it?
Exactly. I'll tell you what, for me, something that I've been kind of living by for the last, well, I'd say since lockdown begun, right?
Okay.
Is as long as you end the day, doesn't matter how small it is, as long as you end the day better off than where you started it, then you've done something good. You've had a good day. Whether that might just be, I don't know, you've gone for a walk to the park. You've done something, or even if you've just, for example, in the uni work that I'm currently doing, if I've written 10 words, let's just say, then I'm 10 words better off than what I did this morning. At least I've got something that I've done in that day. And then what tends to happen is, as long as I make a start on something, as long as I've done one of the tasks on my to-do list, then the next one kind of follows. Instead of looking at something in the big picture, just do it in like small steps. And that's something I've been doing, really trying to do, and it really does help me.
It really speaks volumes. I've never really considered life like that, and I think sometimes, I speak on behalf of a lot of people when I say this, and like a lot of people are very guilty of it. You might have been guilty of it in the past, I don't know, but we as humans, the way we are, like as characters, individuals, we always set these sometimes unattainable and unachievable goals, and if you can't hit them, it can be like the most draining feeling in the world. So by having a lifestyle like that, I kind of envy that, in the fact that you appreciate the little things no matter what it is. And this is the perfect time in life to really appreciate the little things for what they are. And it only means that when this, and I say it's all over in sort of hindsight, but when we can go sort of back to normal, do you think you're going to not only appreciate, but you're going to learn to love things, because they're going to be things that, although might have been normal to you beforehand a couple of years ago, but because they're so sought after, even little things like just being able to go out and take your drone out and go and get shots that you would have been quite normal to you in the past, you might cherish that feeling a bit more in the future.
Yeah, of course. Anything like that, just being able to see your friends, just to socialize. But of course, when it comes down to being creative, once again, it's my hobby. It's what I love doing, and it makes me feel good. So of course, going back to being able to do these kind of things will make me feel good. That's the way life works. If you do the things you enjoy, you're going to enjoy life more.
And we've only got a few minutes left in this chat as it is, which is such a shame, because I'd like to pick your brains a bit more on that. But do you think that if it wasn't sort of, drone sounds like it's a big part of like your life, sounds like it's a big passion of yours, some of the work you produced over the years really shows that, and you can see like the culture within you, and whether it's Malta or Cornwall, you capture it with an amazing eye, and you can really see that you understand these areas like you say you do. Like you said earlier, with learning the locals and Malta being part of your family, and knowing that boat was off to go and get the local catch for that area in Malta. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, sort of, drones, whether you sort of, depending on the way you want to look at it, has kind of provided you with an escapism, as much as it is something you can't do right now. and it's had an influence on your life that you've kind of learned to appreciate, like we said, the little things, and I guess it's had a positive outlook on your life in the fact that you do appreciate the smaller things. And do you think photography has helped you with that in any sense? If I really strange way of asking that question, but do you think perhaps using the drone and seeing life in a whole different perspective has made you see life in a different perspective?
Yeah, of course. It's like doing something that I enjoy and realizing the steps I've done to make sure I enjoy that process even more has made me realize that I can apply this kind of tactic, or I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's not sort of so much of a tactic. I think it's just a lifestyle choice, what you're talking about.
Exactly, yeah. So that I can apply to real life. So, I think that speaks for anything that you do that you enjoy. If you focus on the things you enjoy and you apply that kind of lifestyle, or the lifestyle I've been trying to apply when I go out droning, to real life, it gives you a clearer picture. If you try and do something, if you try and focus a particular lifestyle to something you don't enjoy, then you can't really see clearly, because you're always thinking, my God, I really hate this, I don't want to do this anymore, and you're not really seeing a clear picture. So definitely, if I'm doing the droning, then I am able to apply that kind of lifestyle, the lifestyle I choose when I go out droning, making notes, doing the small steps that I was talking to you about, not looking at the big picture, taking each day by day. And I can apply that to my life, and just general things I do at home, of course.
And it's so inspiring listening to it, and I think not just myself, but I think people at home who are listening to this, or whether you're watching it on YouTube, listening to it on Spotify, I think people are going to take something, even if it is, like you're saying, the smallest thing from this conversation. The fact that I know when I come away from this, I can now appreciate the tiniest things in life a little bit more, and appreciate that you just get through a day, because at the moment it can be the darkest days in the world. And I hope that what Myron said today in today's call and episode, and hopefully it can help you at home as much as it has helped me. And obviously it's helped you out massively, Myron, over the however long you've been doing this for. Is this quite a recent thing, or like you said, start of lockdown, first lockdown?
So do you mean the small steps?
Yeah, sort of the small step thing.
Yeah, I would say over lockdown, yeah, really, because it's given me an opportunity to kind of really think things through and actually pause for a moment and think, well, what's really important,
Yeah.
Because something I've always done, like you said earlier, is I always look at the big picture. I think, well, where do I want to be? What is the ultimate goal?
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've done that, and you're just setting yourself up for failure. And
it's so true. And it can be, like we said, it can be one of the most draining feelings in the world, and it can it can almost stop creativity if you let it get to you and you overthink it.
100%. Yeah.
Like I said, I would love to just carry on and chat with you, and I'm sure a lot of people at home would love to listen for even longer. The beauty of this is you can go and check out all of Myron's work. His Instagram's on screen, and hopefully seeing life through Myron's eyes will hopefully, God, as sort of as poetic as that sounds, hopefully it can change your outcome a little bit and make you look at life a little bit differently, just as it is for me listening to Myron. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Myron. And hopefully you've enjoyed talking to us.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, George. It's been a pleasure.
And of course, go and check out all of Myron's work. And I'll see you all in the next episode of the Chasing Light Collective. Thank you.